welcome to the Wolfchase Toyota Insider, the Memphis Tiger Network. I'm Jeff Brightwell alongside Richie Grant. Coach, have wrapped up the current soccer season, first year in the American Athletic Conference, and just kind of give us your overall thoughts this year. Thought a pretty solid year for your squad.
Yeah, it's just, we're at that stage now where we're just kind of putting some closure on some things with the season ourselves, and the lads looking forward to a break over Christmas. So, and watching the national tournament with great interest, particularly Connecticut now, who are still going well. But an interesting year, just to be in a new league, and we talk so much about facing all those opponents, and I think we figured out that our record against teams in the national tournament was 2-4-1, so we certainly played an awful lot of teams that made the national tournament. And one of the things that we'll look back on the campaign was, could we got those one or two more wins, because we had such a great schedule. But it was a great experience for us, and I think the bright spot of the season was the young players coming through. For Raul to be on the all-conference rookie team, and by the end of the season he was top performer for us, and the amount of playing time that we got in the young lads in the program this year, I think it's as many freshmen as we've had play since 4 years ago, and I think that will really stand to this group moving forward.
Maybe kind of comparing this young group to the 7 seniors that are leaving, because when they came in as that young group a few years ago, they got a lot of minutes their first year as well.
I think the big difference with the two groups is that group played because we were young, and the young players just played. The young players this year played because they beat some people out for positions, and that's a real credit to them. And I think there was 5 of them maybe starting in the quarterfinals and playing big minutes. So I think this group, really the benefits of the development academy and them just playing year round, their strength was just in their play and their preparedness to come into the league right away.
You had to be proud of the team for that situation too, because you've been around long enough to know you have a very talented freshman group or a sophomore group. Let's just say young players. They start to get some minutes. A lot of teams that can cause a rift, but your team very cohesive this year. They were out there to win ball games.
They stuck together, and I thought the boys on senior night, with all the seniors making a big contribution in that Louisville game. That's one that we felt slipped away from us. I thought we were excellent at home that night, and we were a decision away from, we were a post away from getting a result. And that's kind of, when you have a close season like this, in the end, it's one or two little things that you need to make go your way to improve the campaign. But yes, the group stuck together, and kind of, when we kept asking him who the hardest working player was, it was always Raul. And his energy and his effort was just contagiously positive for the team.
Interesting. We look around, not just your scores this year, but all the scores in the American and in college soccer, a lot of parity. Weren't a lot of blowouts anywhere this year. Tons of one-goal games.
Yeah, and it's been the case for a while now, hasn't it? That's the big challenge for us in the office and recruiting and identifying the players now, is how do you cross the line in those games? So many programs are 9-8 and just kind of trying to solve that problem of having an improved season. So a lot of us looking at the same lads, and the development academy's been good for the sport, and I think our league is nice and tight. To send 3 teams into the tournament, I thought was appropriate for where the conference was at this year.
How did you feel overall about the conference? You mentioned just 3 teams in there, so it was solid to get a multiple bid league out of the first year of any league.
Yeah, it was very enjoyable. Some great opponents, some new opponents, lots of travelling. Which is something that we really have to remedy with the schedule, and so you have to be very intelligent now about your non-conference schedule, particularly where we are being not so close to an awful lot of Division 1 schools. We have to manage the non-conference part of our schedule, which I thought we did a great job this year of getting good home games on the back of conference games. So that's quite the challenge. The conference schedule came out yesterday in terms of putting a plan together for 2014, of knowing that you're 3 flights in conference games, that you just try to manage your non-conference around that.
You mentioned Raul making the all-rookie team in the American. Also got Mark on the first team. Liam made second team.
Yep, and not surprised. I mean, they were good players, and there was others who had good campaigns. I mean, Mark came on strong at the end, and I think he'll have a crack at going to the MLS. So I think he's very high on the list for MLS teams to look at.
Coach, I know you're proud of all conference awards, wins, things on the field, but you got to be really proud off the pitch. Your team had the highest GPA in the entire conference.
Yeah, and it's not a surprise to me. That's an area that Bob does an unbelievable job with our players, and they're very appreciative of what he does for the program, and really guides them in and mentors them with the academic part. And one coach challenged me a few years ago. They said we couldn't catch up with our women's soccer team in terms of grades, and I said we'll go for that. And so the boys, they take that part pretty serious now, and it's nice to see, because we've civil engineers here, and we also have lads that are just pushing to get a degree. And I love the challenge of working with both sets of kids, and so credit to Bob and his area, but it is good for the boys to be not just good on the field but good in the classroom.
Take some stress off you. You don't have to worry about eligibility or anything.
Yeah, and look,
taking care of their
we'll
stuff.
always have one or two kids that give us a little bit of stress, but that's part of the job, and we're, if they stick together as a team, I think you'll continue to see a high GPA.
Tell us about the off season. I'm sure you got some camps coming up. Who do you need to call to get in on that?
Yeah, we just posted it yesterday.
Okay.
Actually, we do have an identification camp in January. That's been great for us. It allows young lads to come in and play with our current players and see our facilities, which are just unbelievable out at Park Avenue campus, building a new stadium there. So we get them familiar with what we do, and see the setup. And then we'll really get after it with the 5 games. We've already scheduled Kentucky. We'll go down to Lipscomb and play a tournament. We'll play UAB. So we'll try and play as many competitive games, because this is a group that we need to get matches into in the spring.
You mentioned Park Avenue campus. I've driven over there a couple times. It's really coming along. I'm sure it's still too early to make any predictions about any matches there next year, but I guess you got to be happy with the progress. You can see the field out there now.
Yeah, yes, it's moving quickly, isn't it? And the progress is great, and then also just the donation to the university yesterday for athletics. So 10 million should build a fantastic soccer stadium.
Sounds good, Coach. We always appreciate it. Great season.
Thanks.
I'm sure we'll catch up with you this winter.
Happy Christmas.
That is head coach Richie Grant. I'm Jeff Brightwell. This has been the Wolfchase Toyota Insider on the Memphis Tiger Network.